This is Shanghai on October 16th. The once popular and busy shopping center of Wanxiangcheng is now empty. The Aegean shopping park was surrounded by isolation panels. A commercial street was blocked off by iron fences, and all stores were sealed off inside. Another large shopping mall was being sealed, and all customers were forced to leave. Stores that were operating had to close immediately. But the employees of the stores cannot leave. They can only be isolated in the mall. What awaits them is daily nucleic acid testing. It's not known when they'll be able to leave. This bleak, chaotic situation is similar to what happened in April and May. Shanghai was unsealed in June, and some merchants were having a hard time getting their business back after experiencing huge losses. Recently, the epidemic broke out again in Shanghai, and a new round of closure and control was launched, with stores and shopping malls being closed yet again. Many store owners were simply devastated by the endless prevention policies. Losing hope, they said that they won't even have the courage to live on if the blockade continued like this. After 2 months of prison-like life, Shanghai people's confidence in Shanghai has taken a huge hit. It was especially hard on private business owners and employees of foreign enterprises. During the closure period, factories and stores were forced to close, and with little to no income, they had to continue to bear high rental costs, various expenses, and employee wages, leading to the closure and bankruptcy of many small and medium-sized enterprises. The withdrawal of a large number of foreign companies also caused those who were once elite in the society to lose their high-paying jobs, and the high mortgage payments overwhelmed them. This sharp drop in income quickly reduced them from the middle class to the debt-ridden. The most important point is that this extremist control has shattered the last bit of faith that Chinese middle class had towards the CCP. Many have chosen to flee China, with the number of people immigrating overseas skyrocketing. Likewise, the first-tier cities of Shenzhen and Guangzhou have been experiencing countless closures and nucleic acid testing so far this year. In addition to the withdrawal of many foreign companies causing massive unemployment problems, like Shanghai, many self-employed businessmen and entrepreneurs have also lost a lot of money due to the harsh zeroing policy. South China Morning Post previously reported on Miss Hu, a woman who left her hometown at the age of 18 to work, struggling for decades, and now runs her own hair salon in Guangzhou City. But due to the epidemic, the repeated closure and resumption of business caused a high level of debt, and now she has nothing but loans. For the past year, Miss Hu and her husband have been struggling to cope with the bills that have been flying in like snow, until recently, when the couple could no longer pay their monthly mortgage of 9,000 RMB and now face the foreclosure of their house. The problem of plummeting income and rising debt is not limited to the self-employed. Ms. Tang, a 36-year-old office worker in Guangzhou, faces the same problem. She is the secretary of a small electronics company, and although the current situation is not good, she barely held on to her job. But the monthly salary went from 5,000 down to 4,000 yuan. Her mother, who is retired and living on a pension, recently used up her savings to pay off her daughter's credit card debt of 110,000 yuan. 2 years of economic uncertainty have dismantled the belief that in China, the world's second-largest economy, growth and increased income will result if you work hard. What happened to the two women underscores the growing unease that is spreading among China's middle class. Not only in first-tier cities, but the middle class in some smaller cities is also facing the same problem. Recently, a colleague contacted his relatives and friends who are still in China and learned some information that might reveal some truths of the Chinese middle class. Her hometown is in a small city in Shandong province, which is small but resource-based and has a relatively high GDP ranking in the country. According to one of her civil servant friends, the treatment of civil servants here used to be very good, but recently there is an unprecedented situation of salary arrears. It's evident that the local finances are in a very difficult situation. Her other friend's experience is even worse. 34-year-old Mr. Lee, who runs an after-school tutorial class for students, was previously doing quite well and was considered a member of the middle class according to his income. Last year, China cracked down on the education and training industry, causing him to experience a crisis. He survived by transitioning to a different career, and has just started seeing some improvements this year. The new outbreak and the fact that his city was also sealed off due to new cases has again reduced his income significantly. Just a few days ago, he was unsealed and ready to open for business when the local government regulators started to visit his home again. According to usual practices, you must treat them for food after an inspection, otherwise there will be a whole lot of issues waiting for you. Although unwilling, he still had to deal with these officials with a smile. What's more annoying was that after the meal, they also asked to go for karaoke. He couldn't afford to pay for it and politely refused, but now we're not so sure what awaits him. Another person, Mr. Zhang, is the owner of a small construction company. 2 years ago, he was awarded a government shantytown renovation project through connections. He originally believed that government projects would be infallible, but never thought that due to the real estate recession, the government's income from land sales has dropped sharply. Coupled with the impact of the pandemic, the local government is also unable to make ends meet. Migrant workers have learned their lesson due to being repeatedly owed wages, and now they demand their wages to be paid the same day work is done. Mr. Zhang advanced a large amount of material payments and workers' wages himself in order to complete the project. But now the government is not paying for the project on the grounds that there is no money. So now he can only borrow money because he can't get his money back and is heavily in debt. There is also Miss Wang, who had a successful career and opened 4 stores, owning a big business and earning a lot of money. But after a round of closures, she lost 800,000 yuan in 3 months. Now she only hopes that she can rise again after the reopening and pay off her debts. Of course, the examples above are just a scaled-down version of what's happening to small and medium-sized enterprises and individual entrepreneurs in China. According to the data from the General Administration of Market Regulation of China, as of the end of August 2022, there were 109 million registered individual businesses in China. These are mainly concentrated in wholesale and retail, accommodation and catering, and residential services. These industries, however, are the ones most seriously affected by the zeroing policy, especially the accommodation and catering industry, which has seen countless bankruptcies and closures. According to the Wall Street Journal, about 4.37 million SMEs closed in China in the first 11 months of 2021, while only 1.32 million new SMEs were registered in the same period. That's 397,400 SMEs closing down each month on average. The situation is not good this year either. According to the latest statistics by Professor Zheng Yu Huang of Tsinghua University, 460,000 companies closed down in the first half of this year throughout China, and around 3.1 million businesses written off. The once popular internet industry has also suffered a number of setbacks in the last 2 years, with the CCP's slogan of preventing the disorderly expansion of capital in 2020 causing panic in the business community. The $2.78 billion fine imposed on Alibaba in April last year has silenced other major internet companies. Under anti-monopoly and national security grounds, many tech companies such as Tencent and Didi have also been severely punished, causing their profits to shrink significantly. According to Chinese data, Alibaba and Tencent have lost more than $1 trillion in market value over the past 2 years. The once influential internet moguls such as Jack Ma of Alibaba, Liu Qiangdong of JD.com, and Zhang Yiming of ByteDance have all stepped down as CEOs. Some say that the elite class who once witnessed and led China's development are now either in jail, under house arrest, or silenced by the authorities, but the vast majority have chosen to lie flat. The reason they choose to lie flat is because they see that the entrepreneurial environment of China's past is gone, making them lose confidence in the future. These internet companies then began to lay off large amounts of employees. From February to May this year, there were rumors of the fiercest layoffs in the history of China's major internet companies. Two internet giants, Tencent and Alibaba, were exposed to have done major layoffs, one by 15% and one by 30%, and the layoffs are still ongoing. The innovation business of ByteDance disappeared altogether. Kuaishou also began to optimize their e-commerce, algorithm, commercialization, and game departments. Many other internet companies like Jingdong, Didi, iQIYI, social platforms Xiaohongshu and Bilibili are also laying off a lot of staff. There are comments saying that SME owners have no income and workers have no jobs. Social capital is being lost and positions are disappearing. With consumers having less disposable income, the industry's revenue will naturally dry up. Layoffs are also inevitable. Recently, a former Alibaba employee who called himself Wei wrote about his experience on the internet. 34-year-old Wei was an Ali employee 6 months ago, working as a data expert at the level of P7, with an annual salary of $1 million. However, in the middle of this year, the company suddenly had a wave of graduations, and he was laid off. After getting the layoff package, he was actually quite happy. He thought to himself, I've had enough at that place anyways. There are plenty of job opportunities out there, so this layoff was really timely. At the beginning of the job search, he was very confident, believing that with his experience as a P7 Ali employee, it would certainly be easy to find a job. But he still underestimated the depression of the internet industry. More than 4 months have passed, and his job search standards have dropped again and again. After over 30 interviews, he still has not gotten a suitable offer. Being a newlywed and shouldering a hefty mortgage, if he doesn't find a job soon, he will face the problem with repayments. Recently, there's an article circulating in mainland China titled, "Behind the dwindling Haidilao is the ongoing demise of the Chinese middle class." Haidilao is the largest hot pot restaurant chain in China, and in its heyday in 2020, it opened 1,400 restaurants worldwide. Because of its superior service and above-average food quality, it has gained the favor of many middle-class people. The author talks about how every time you go to Haidilao, you need to wait in line for a long time. Nowadays, not only is there no queue, but there are even many spare tables and idle staff. The dishes of Haidilao have not changed, so what changed must be the people. The people who eat Haidilao have disappeared, or rather, are disappearing at a noticeable rate. And this group is precisely the backbone of China, the middle class. The root cause of all these changes is naturally inseparable from the roller coaster experienced by the Chinese economy in the past 2 years. From the second half of last year, everyone believed that the dust has settled, dead businesses will revive. But this year, it turned into the dust continues, dead businesses remain dead. Almost all industries in China have been ruthlessly crushed by the wheel of history. Just like Haidilao, whose share price fell 75% and closed 300 stores last year. The owner has also quietly emigrated to Singapore with the money. Now that China is holding its 20th National Congress, it's no surprise that Xi Jinping will start his third term. In his speech, it has been clearly stated that the cleanup and prevention will continue to persist. This shows that not only will China's economy not improve, but the trend of decline is imminent. As the mainstay of economic development, who knows how many more people will fall from the middle class and become slaves to debt.